Well, good evening from London. Welcome to Piers Morgan Uncensored. Harry and Meghan's claims about supposed racists in the royal family have left a predictable and poisonous legacy for the last few years. We live in an age where grievances are given the benefit of the doubt, where the establishment is toxic by default, where my truth apparently means more than the truth. They knew the power their words would hold, and many people across the world took their words at face value.
Are you serious?
Now, almost 3 years on, Britain is still dealing with the fallout from this.
And also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
Okay.
What? About how dark your baby is going to be?
Potentially, and what that would mean or look like.
Hold up.
There's
Stop
several
right now.
There's several conversations.
There's a
about
conversation with you?
with Harry.
So that was a f***ing lie.
About how dark your baby is going to be?
Potentially, and what that would mean or look like.
Ooh. And you're not going to tell me who had the conversation?
Very good question.
I think that would be very damaging to them.
Okay.
Compartmentalized
They were concerned
conversations.
that if he were too brown, that would be a problem. Are you saying that?
You better answer the fucking question.
I wasn't able to follow up with why, but that if that's the assumption you're making, I think that feels like a pretty safe one.
You may recall that I lost my previous job for responding to these claims by saying I didn't believe a word of it. Well, Harry and Meghan have never provided any evidence for that highly incendiary claim. It's not like they haven't had the chance to. After all, they pumped out 6 hours of self-indulgent bilge on Netflix, trashing Britain and the press for its racism. They didn't mention what they said on Oprah. Harry wrote 150,000 words of family-bashing poison in his memoir Spare and toured the TV studios to promote it. They didn't mention what they'd said to Oprah Winfrey. Fact. Meghan had a 12-part podcast on Spotify. I didn't mention it either. It was like it never happened, like it disappeared. Clearly, neither of them gave a damn about royal protocol or family privacy. In fact, they built a whole industry around violating their own privacy and that of their relatives. Instead of backing up those claims about racism on their relentless publicity tour, Harry did a sort of strange U-turn, didn't he, a few months ago? Tried to pretend they'd never said them.
Are you serious?
It was us. It was the media.
In the Oprah interview, you accuse members of your family of racism. You don't even...
We didn't.
Well,
The British press said that.
right.
Stop it. Did Meghan ever mention that they were racist?
She said there were troubling comments about
There
his
was
skin
concern
colour.
about his skin colour.
Right. Wouldn't you describe that as essentially racist?
I wouldn't, not having lived within that family.
Took him 2 years to do that U-turn. 2 years of the royal family are a bunch of racists flying around the world. I was in America through a lot of that period, and they all believed it because it had appeared on Oprah. And he says, I never meant to say anything about racism. What are you all talking about? It's the beastly media. Well, now Harry and Meghan's lick-spittle client journalist Omid Scobie, the man who lied about his age, said he was 33 when in fact he was 38, a bit older now, said he never used private jets and then got reminded of an Instagram picture of him the week before he denied that this week, showing him on a private jet. The man who said that I have regular phone calls with Queen Camilla.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Regular phone calls. Never had one phone call with Queen Camilla in my entire life. I'd like to, but she doesn't call. Well, Scobie is back with a spiteful, lie-filled new book. Fact. That's poured fuel on the flames. He says that Meghan wrote private letters to King Charles naming two royals who she accuses of taking part in those supposedly troubling conversations about Archie's skin colour.
Stop it.
Scobie initially said he knew the names but couldn't legally report them. But of course, he could have done outside of the UK. He could have done it in America if he wanted to, where the book is published. He could have done it anywhere. But he said he never names names.
That doesn't make sense.
Which is another of his lies. And yet overnight they were sensationally revealed, suddenly, out of nowhere, in the Dutch version of Scobie's book. Journalists had been sent copies and the book was briefly on sale in bookstores. What? before being suddenly withdrawn in a dash by the publishers. Scobie initially said it was a translation error, which didn't really make any sense, because how do you mistranslate names? They're either there or they're not.
Well, folks, Harry and Meghan are one of the colossal crash and burns in public relations history. What's really funny right now is watching as Prince Harry and Meghan Markle just flame out. It's really, really entertaining.
Do you see me laughing, my nigga?
So they've been basically booted from Spotify because it turns out that they were a hoax and they had nothing to provide to the audience whatsoever other than sort of woke grievance mongering. Well, now people are speaking out about how useless they were. The Wall Street Journal has a long piece titled "Harry and Meghan Produce a Hollywood Flop Themselves." Prince Harry and Meghan Markle had been out of the UK for nearly 2 years when they began work on a project they believed could transform them from former royals to Hollywood power players. The subject of endless rumors and gossip, the couple felt qualified to tackle the thorny topic of misinformation.
Is y'all right upstairs?
Oh, these woke idiots. Misinformation. Misinformation from Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Meghan Markle claimed she'd never heard of Prince Harry when she started dating him.
So that was a lie.
A documentary would cement Harry and Meghan as serious creative types and help shed their reputation as exiles from the House of Windsor, trading family dirt for eyeballs. A team assembled to the job at the pair's LA-based production company, Archwell, had questions for H&M, as the Sussexes are known to their employees.
Boy.
Series. Who would host it? Would it be historical or contemporary? Would Harry or Meghan appear in it? Would Meghan discuss her bitter history with the British tabloids? And if not, who would want to watch? The couple had few answers. According to people familiar with the inner workings of Archwell and Harry and Meghan's deal with streamers, the misinformation documentary soon met the fate of other Archwell projects and faded away.
Well, duh.
Well, yeah, because their basic idea was, what if we just say slogans, right? What if we just go to the "In This House We" lawn sign and just read the slogans, but do it on film? After all, this is what they've been rewarded for their entire life. So why the hell not? If you just mouth the woke nostrums, why couldn't that be a 90-minute documentary? And then they're like, well, guys, there's no market for that. Like, well, we don't really have anything else. Prince Harry and Meghan's Hollywood foray is looking like a flop. They arrived in SoCal 3 years ago with Duke and Duchess titles and plans to capitalize on a cash-rich streaming business desperate for star power to lure subscribers.
Are you serious?
They got a $100 million deal at Netflix. They got a $20 million deal at Spotify. They have led to more cancellations and rejections than actual produced shows. So Prince Harry's memoir Spare became a bestseller, and then they had their garbage 6-part documentary talking about how terrible their life is, and that was at least somewhat popular. But then they had a graveyard of projects, including an animated children's show called Pearl, canceled by Netflix.
I got you, homie.
As well as at least 2 TV ideas that the streaming service rejected within the past year, people familiar with their project said. Netflix is unlikely to renew the couple's deal, which runs through 2025. The Spotify pack, meanwhile, produced a podcast, Archetypes, about these stereotypes that hold women back. A second season was discussed, but eventually nixed. And Bill Simmons points out that, like, behind closed doors, it was even more of a bleep show than it was publicly. People who have worked with the pair say their Sussex upon Sunset outpost was undermined by their inexperience as producer and trouble finding material consistent with their brand. That shouldn't be too hard. Finding woke whiners to create material, that's like all of Hollywood.
That doesn't make sense.
But they say that the real problem is that they have no talent. That would be the real problem. When they struck deals with Netflix and Spotify in 2020, streaming services were booming. Executives were rushing to secure content and feed consumer demand at any cost. The Sussexes joined Barack Obama, Nobel Peace Prize laureate Malala Yousafzai, and others who fielded offers in Hollywood with few guidelines on what would come next. And then it turns out that, nope, it just completely fell apart. The article goes on and on about their failures of projects, but basically they had no plans. Now, the Obamas have a similar deal, right? The American form of royalty, Barack and Michelle Obama, they also have deals at Netflix and Spotify.
Wow.
They have made movies like Leave the World Behind starring Julia Roberts, which I know you saw it. Oh, wait, you didn't see it because no one's heard of it. Also, Kevin Hart's Fatherhood and a child-oriented show, Waffles and Moki, and documentaries including American Factory. Has anyone watched any of these things?
I don't know.
Like, are these things even out yet? No one knows. But the Obamas are not allowed to fail. We don't care if Harry and Meghan fail, so we will allow them to fail.
Really, nigga?
So what happens next for them? Well, they're pretty screwed because they've basically exiled themselves from their family. They no longer have any dirt to spill. And their first animated show was supposed to be about powerful women of history called Pearl. It was created with the help of David Furnish, who knew the royal family through his husband, Elton John.
Oh, Lord. Again.
When the couple left the palace and signed the Netflix deal, Pearl was the first show announced, and then Netflix canceled it. Executives decided no one would care if the show they were watching had been produced by a duchess. So Harry and Meghan have burned it out. So not to be cynical, but look for the divorce proceedings sometime in the fairly near future.